Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Senator Mitch McConnell says goodbye to the Senate, announcing he won't run for re-election after his term ends. Plus, it's important to clean your house now and prevent the spread of mold before you smell it later down the line.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. I'm Amelia Lee. On this Friday, February 21st, the time is 6:31, and that means it's time to check on in with our friend meteorologist Megan Dusmal for a look at that forecast this morning. And Megan, we are in that first alert weather day today. It's been cold, it's been rainy, it's been snowy. I feel like we've gotten every season in the last week.
We certainly have. Now, the good news is we're starting to feel a little bit more spring-like as we're going through the next couple days, but today definitely still feels like winter. Good news is that we are clear from the snow this morning. You could see maybe a couple snowflakes falling as you're traveling closer to Louisa and our West Virginia counties, but for the most part, completely clear. Just watching those clouds coming in and out for today. Now, those temperatures, though, very much winter-like. In fact, this is very unseasonably warm for this time of year. We're looking at single digits for some locations across the area, 1 degree as a temperature in Somerset. Now, this is just the ambient temperature. This is not factoring in the wind chill. It could feel even colder if you pick up some wind as you're traveling towards Somerset. Now, we'll look at some more temperatures. 4 degrees for London and Irvine, 3 degrees for Williamsburg, and a little bit warmer as you're traveling towards our Virginia counties and our West Virginia counties. 14 degrees for Logan, 16 for Grundy, and our high temperatures today will still be cold. We're not going to escape it today, but warmer is ahead as we're heading into this weekend. Amelia.
7 times Kentuckians sent Senator Mitch McConnell back to Washington. Now there won't be an 8th. Yesterday, on his 83rd birthday, the Republican announced he will not seek re-election in 2026. The decision comes less than a year after he decided to give up his leadership role after the November 2024 election. He was first elected back in 1984. Following Senator McConnell's announcement, many Kentuckians are now asking, what's next? Jessica Umbro heard reactions from Republican lawmakers in Frankfort and talked with them about what could be next for the longtime senator's seat.
Just after the end of session Thursday, leaders from both the House and Senate chambers shared their reactions to U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell's decision not to seek re-election in 2026.
It's immeasurable. It's going to be missed. It will take a long time to replace that.
I think for people in the Republican Party, many of them owe much of their success to him.
The Republican Party of Kentucky says the Commonwealth's relatively small delegation will carry on a legacy of being heavy hitters in Washington.
We have some of the most powerful congressional members in the country. So, no, I think we're going to carry on the tradition of being, a force in Washington, D.C.
Just as quickly as the news was spreading around Frankfort, we saw some people saying that they intend to run for McConnell's seat and become the junior senator from Kentucky.
Daniel Cameron, Kentucky's former attorney general and 2023 Republican candidate for governor, and Representative Pamela Stevenson, the 2023 Democratic candidate for attorney general, have both said they will be running. U.S. Republican Representative Andy Barr has said he is considering a run as well.
Everybody, I think, knew and has known that at such time that he chose not to seek re-election, it was going to be a very, very spirited and competitive primary, perhaps on both sides.
Senator Stivers says it's hard to tell who's the early front-runner, but did say what could be the tipping point for the pool of potentially already well-known Kentucky political figures.
Getting to know the person one-on-one or having a relationship with them may trump the disagreements on policy or personal positions.
In Frankfort, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
Congressman Rogers issued the following statement about Senator McConnell. Quote, Senator McConnell's retirement announcement marks the coming end of a historic era of dedicated service and leadership that has catapulted Kentucky forward. His deep-seated conservative values and unparalleled respect for our great nation's Constitution and the institutions of our democracy have held our nation on the right path. Together, we have empowered Kentucky-focused legislation through the Senate and the House for many years, and I am grateful for his invaluable partnership over the years. I wish him the very best on his birthday today and in the years ahead. Lawmakers discussed more bills in Frankfort yesterday. Senate Bill 60 would define and expand legal safeguards to protect Kentuckians' religious freedom. It says government actions cannot substantially burden a person's religious beliefs. And if the government violates someone's religious freedom, they could be entitled to financial compensation. The bill passed the Judiciary Committee and now heads to the full Senate. A House committee talked about a bill known as Baby Maya's Law. The bill is named after an 8-month-old who was found dead inside her home in Ohio County. Known as House Bill 574, it would allow the state to intervene when a child is born to parents who already have children in someone else's custody because of neglect or abuse. The bill passed out of committee 12-1. It now heads to the full House. Yesterday morning, Governor Andy Beshear hosted another update in Frankfort. The governor did not report any new deaths during his briefing, but social media confirmed that a person from Livingston County died, increasing the death toll to 15. He says more than 180 state highways were still shut down. In the briefing, Governor Beshear also mentioned more than 6,500 folks are without water and more than 45,000 people remain under a boil water advisory. In a significant step toward recovery for those impacted by the recent floods, the governor announced a $6 million grant for the Housing Development Alliance. This funding will be used to build 32 homes in the Skyview High Ground neighborhood in Perry County. HDA Executive Director Scott McReynolds says they aim to begin construction in April.
These are being built in response to the 22 floods. However, the way the money is structured is people who were impacted in this most recent flood can, in fact, apply for a home up there. So we really encourage everybody who thinks they might want to relocate, wants to find out more, to go to that Housing Can't Wait website.
The Hazard Independent School District hosted a flood drive in the Roy G. Eversole Gym. Superintendent Sandra Combs says the district immediately reached out to staff and families to assess needs, then set up a distribution center for cleaning supplies and food. Community members came together, donating supplies and volunteering to assist with cleanup efforts. With so many still in need, organizers continued sending out supplies as quickly as they came in.
We're all family and we just work very hard trying to make sure that we're all taken care of. If a neighbor needs something, we're going to make sure they have it. If our students need something, we're going to make sure they have it, whatever it takes.
Combs says their work isn't over as donations continue to roll in to help flood victims across America. After floodwaters recede, the real challenge begins, cleaning up and preventing mold. Housing Development Alliance Executive Director Scott McReynolds says removing all water damage materials, including drywall, insulation, and flooring, is critical. Once those are removed, allowing the home to dry completely before rebuilding is just as important. Fans, dehumidifiers, and even heaters in cold weather can speed up the process.
What we saw after the last flood was several months after people had repaired their house, they begin to smell that musty, that kind of mold smell, that old mustiness. Again, some people are pretty allergic to it and it can cause some health problems. And unfortunately, at that point, the only way to remediate it is to tear out everything you put back and clean it and then put it back yet again.
McReynolds also warns that using bleach is not enough to stop mold from returning. He recommends using a mold prevention product that soaks into wood and prevents future growth. He says homeowners should take the time to do it right now to avoid costly repairs later. Many folks in Lee County are also in cleanup mode. Floodwaters damaged homes, businesses, and county officials' offices in Beattyville. Water got into the building where the ambulance service and coroner's office sit. Deputy Coroner Kenneth Lewis says thankfully they were able to get out all of their important equipment and records in time. He says they only recently moved back into their office after repairs from the 2021 floods wrapped up.
We just barely got back in here about 3 months ago officially.
Patricia Cole with the ambulance service says it's devastating building back, only for the flooding to affect folks in the community. But she says they will work as quickly as they can to get back on their feet. Lowe's is also helping flood survivors. On Saturday, Kentuckians can pick up buckets filled with recovery items. More than 100 buckets will be available at the Pikeville, Paintsville, and Hazard locations. Lowe's will also set up a disaster response trailer at the Pikeville store to rent one-time use tools to clear debris and repair damage. We have more about this story on our website, WYMT.com. The Appalachia Reach Out Mission Distribution Center is filled with donations for those affected by floodwaters, including in Martin County. Donations of essential items in the helping hands of dozens of volunteers, including the National Guard, were at the Inez Free Will Baptist Church. Those helping with the effort say it's really the entire community that's helping itself. And this is just one of several distribution sites set up throughout Martin County.
Seen personally here is we had folks that's come in this door that's been flooded themselves, sitting here, they don't have nowhere to go, and saying, I'm here to help. And that's the greatest thing about living in this county and living in this Appalachian region, is that folks just love people.
Volunteers say if you want to donate to one of the distribution centers in Martin County, they are still in need of cleaning supplies. In Knox County, crews responded to a house fire. If you look at your screen, there is an image of the fire. Firefighters with the Barberville Fire Department were called to a home on Kentucky 3439, with some reports of someone possibly being trapped inside the home. When crews arrived on scene, they were able to identify and find that victim and remove them from the house with minor injuries. It took roughly 2 hours to put out the fire. A woman is facing charges after police found drugs in her possession in Laurel County. The incident happened Wednesday night when police pulled over 51-year-old Rhonda Mullins a few miles away from London. During the traffic stop, police found a large amount of meth in her vehicle. Police say they later found a weighted scale and other paraphernalia at Mullins's home.
Grab that coat on the way out. You're going to need it. We're talking temperatures in the single digits and teens, with the warmest in the area at 16 degrees. Prestonsburg and right outside of our area, Ashland, is at 19 degrees. Now, we do have some wind in the area, especially as you're traveling more towards the northeast, which will be making those temperatures feel even colder. 8-mile-per-hour wind as you're traveling towards Logan, 6-mile-per-hour wind for Jackson, Moorhead, and Ashland. And here's a look at those feels like temperatures, feeling like 0 degrees in Jackson right now. Most of the area feeling like single digits. So again, bring that coat, because even as we head into the afternoon, it's going to be cold. 30 degrees will be the range for our forecast highs, with the exception of Wise, which will be at 28 for today. Now here's a look at that bus stop forecast as you're heading out the door. Looking at mostly cloudy skies on the way to school, with temperatures definitely on the colder side of things. By the time you're heading home, temperatures will be in the low 30s with partly cloudy skies. Amelia.
Thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:43. Still to come on Mountain News this morning, a special look at a bar that predates America itself, where the founding fathers used to come and grab a drink.